With 3 rounds to go, tonight, it's moving day, as they say in golf. Championships cannot be won tonight, but they can be lost. Tonight, the Race Anywhere World Series takes that short flight from Germany to Austria as we head to the Styrian Hills at the Red Bull Ring, live here on Absolute Sim Racing. Good evening, everyone. My name is Craig King, and once again, Daniel Hanover is with me on the microphone and the camera work. Tonight, of course, we visit the Red Bull Ring, or as I remember it as a kid, the A1 Ring. Created in 1969, this track, it started life as a 5.9 kilometer track. Changed in 1996 to the layout, kind of the same layout we've got today. There's a few adjustments, but it's still 4.3 kilometers and 10 turns. Track was taken out of action in 2004 until 2011. Thanks basically to an investment from a certain energy drink provider. I don't know who it is. Track was given significant upgrades around the track. And in 2008, that happened, and then it returned to the F1 schedule in 2014 after a 10-year absence. Track sees use in European Le Mans Series, DTM, and recently MotoGP. And you may know the changes recently. Turn 1 is named after the late great Niki Lauda. Still, the only Austrian to win his home Grand Prix. He did it in 1974, on his way to the third and final World Championship that man claimed. So, Daniel, that race was actually in a similar spot in the season as this one is tonight. So, every title's somewhat close. Would you say tonight's the deciding factor to who wins the World Series?
Well, it could be, couldn't it? It certainly is it certainly is something that drivers have got to keep an eye out for. This could be a very pivotal point. We do have an idea, but at the same time, we don't really, we're not 100% sure. We're just going to have to really just sort of see how it goes. Obviously, qualifying was taking place just about now, so for single lap, so all the AM drivers will be going out first, and then we'll have a bit of a break, and then we'll come back with the race. Qualifying, I wouldn't be focused on qualifying, to be fair. What I would actually focus on is, maximising your points in the race. Qualifying, you want good track position, but at the same time, it's a long race. You've got to make sure that you're playing the long game here. Say that all of the time, but a 75-minute race, you've got to almost treat it, you have to treat it like a sprint, but at the same time, you do have to make sure that you're focusing on, with the 2 mandatory pit stops, focus on the end. What's your second pit stop going to look like? So, yes, a very, very pivotal point here, providing that drivers are able to get their strategy right and they're confident at this circuit.
Yeah, exactly. And of course, normally we talk about the slipstream battles and the fuel-saving battles. And of course, tonight you've got the start-finish line. You've got from turn 1 down to turn 3. So that's the exit Niki Lauda curve down to Remus. Then, of course, you've got from turn 3 to turn 4. They are those straights there. Think of the DRS straights you get in F1, and those are the straights that you'll see these drivers try to get the most out of what they can in terms of fuel saving. Adrad Al-Haddad is out there at the moment, and these are the amateurs, of course, and I kind of said a little bit of a white lie when I talked about every title is very close, because Sauerhaug is leading the way, dominant at the moment, 580 points. He's over 100 points ahead of P2 combined, which is Dean Timms and Frederick Droy, who are both on 465. Key thing with that battle is Dean Timms does have no drop weeks left. He had a DNF, so he had no drop weeks left. P4 is Johan Asson on 450 and Edison Manguera on 440, followed by Werner Is on 430 and Ingo Lapsian on 425. Mike Mjolnir on 410 and Henning Haig 390 and Simon Dodd on 375 ran up the top 10. One thing I've been told about Sauerhaug, and I literally got told as we were going live, he is on a teammate's rig 500 kilometers away from his home tonight. Talk about dedication. He's already in a convincing lead. He could use the drop week and that's it. But he's decided to go out there, take a long trek just to get racing tonight.
Yeah, he certainly has. You are absolutely correct. It's impressive, isn't it? We've got to make sure that obviously that we are going to get. You've got to adapt. That's a big adaptation. You haven't got a lot of time to adapt to actually the new what you're going through in terms of pretty much a completely different kit. It could be everything. Everything could be exactly the same. I highly doubt that. But you've got to try and take. Not only learning the circuit, learn the conditions, etc., but you then got to learn with what goes on with your new equipment as well. There could be a couple of things that may not necessarily work as you're quite used to. So there's so many different things there. So do keep an eye out and see how they get on. Simon Dodd takes provisional pole in the AM category. Sauterhaug is in P2. Again, I don't think he's going to be overly fussed, is he? Let's be honest. At this moment in time, he's P2, 3/10 off. Magdal Jonland's just gone up into P3. Yeah, I'm not 100% sure that this is going to be too much of a worry for Sauterhaug at this point. Although, Haddad, looking very, very quick. He's just put in P2, only a couple of tenths behind. So, Simon Dodd, he's got a good time on the board to start with, but he's got to be careful.
He's got to be careful, and also he's gone quicker. In practice, he did a 1:29.522, and in fact, most of these drivers not going the same times they did in practice. El Haddad, by the way, that 1:30, it's a really nice banking lap there when he did a 1:29.9, so he's close to what he was doing. But a lot of these drivers, they have not beaten what they have done already. And you can still see a couple of the drivers having some invalid laps. Of course, remember, it does have the 4 tire rules, on the end parts of this track. And I'm just seeing Edison Manguera, that he will not be setting another lap time. He just had a spin, and that looked like that was at turn 7 on my screen. He won't set a lap time. You can just see him going to the pits now. A lot of these drivers haven't taken up any times yet, so it's hard to get an idea of what we're looking at in terms of what's the quote-unquote OP car. Ingo Lapsian, yes, that is true. That is a dead heat with Sauerhaug there. Werner S now goes pole for 1:29.735. That, though, with Lapsian, what a time, though, to match. But it doesn't matter anymore. Sauerhaug goes faster, but he's only P3. That's a little bit of a shock there for the Lamborghini.
Yeah, it is indeed. We do see some very, very good performances. I mean, arguably, the setup could be more suited in the race, perhaps. Henning Haig, again, another lap that is not set. Frederick Javoy, let's see what he are going across the line. It is going to be, there's no time on the board as it stands at the moment. And there is pole position for Frederick Javoy, a 1:29.65. So Werner S gets knocked off the top step of the podium, as it turns out for the moment. Dean Timms just goes now up into P5. Any other drivers? Leroy Johnson, Henning Haig have not been able to set laps. So that is your AM category done. And Frederick Devoy, so BMW 1-2 with Frederick Devoy and Werner S. Very, very good stuff indeed as we now move on to the Pro-Am category.
Yep, we've got the Pro-Ams here. And of course, I'll go back to that whole scoring at the moment. We'll just let you know what the points are for the Pro-Ams, because Daniel Sedgley has been leading the charge here with 575 points. He was able to leapfrog Cody Pry after what happened last week. Cody Pry now sitting on 540, but of course he has. The problem is, last week he only scored 65 points, and you think 65 points, well, yeah, okay, have that as a drop round. 60 points to this drop round, so he has to keep that 65 point. That could be crucial. 35-point gap between him and Daniel Sedgley. Svenning Masterson also sitting P2 with Cody Pride on 540. Sedgley, Masterson, no drop weeks, and a lot of these drivers don't have any drop weeks left now. Will Richardson, 515 in 4th. You've got Ethan Bass in 5th in that Ford, 480. Not really any other drivers that can get onto the top podium spots anymore after that. Joachim Code and Alvin Kettleberg, who started the season very strong, both sitting on 435. They cannot get to the top spot now. So Pro-Am, realistically, is a 5-car battle now, and it's very interesting because the drivers that I just said are in the trouble here, Cody Pry and Will Richardson, they have drop weeks, and they have to carry a couple of other bad results. But everybody else in that top 5 don't have a drop week left. They all have DNS. So it's really starting to be interesting in the Pro-Ams.
It certainly is. Very, very true indeed, as we're now going to move on to the drivers who are just finishing up their laps. There is Chris Chatterton, the Eclipse Racing Team number 16 Ferrari. Yeah, this is what we're talking about, it being a very, very pivotal point in the championship. We've just got, drivers have got to understand that this is going to be a very, very, I'm trying to think the best way to probably word this is, if drivers don't perform well here, if one driver maybe even loses a position to one of the drivers in the title to contention, that could be it. Every single point here is crucial, and if they don't get that is going to cost them possibly a championship or a P2 or a P3, whatever it may be. So we're going to see, I reckon, some relatively I don't want to say aggressive driving, because I hope obviously we don't, and we do have a nice clean series, which I'm sure we obviously will do, but yeah, this is something to really, really watch out for, because every point counts it, and every driver, especially in the Pro-Am field, they know it.
Yeah, they definitely know it. And of course, looking at the practice times as well, it's been very tight with the Pro-Ams. Cody Pry was the fastest Pro-Am, but then you look elsewhere, he's only a couple tenths faster than the next Pro-Am, and then the rest of the Pro-Ams, there's just tenths between them. So it's very tight everywhere in that Pro-Am field, just on pace, and it's been the same all season. It's been fantastic to see. You would think now with the numbers starting to just lower down, just due to other reasons, that okay, so you'll be able to get a few more points because you won't get like 13th, you'll probably get 10th or something. That's still an issue that we're going to see at full stop. So Cody Pryde's going to take the first lap here for the Pro-Ams. He'll cross the line very quickly. We'll see what he does. And Daniel Sedgley will be the first one to go. A 1:29.706. Do not tell me Cody Pryde had an invalid lap. He did indeed. Invalid lap there. Will Richardson will go on pole now. 1:29.613. Pro-Am times are now starting to come in. Ryan Hamilton, you can just see there, 1:30.147. Ethan Bass puts the Ford on the pole position with a 1:29.236. Always fun to get happy about that. I was wondering what he could do in that Ford today, and it just shows that there is a little bit of smoothness out there for that Ford. We were worried about it, but he may have another surprising showing in that Ford.
You may very well do. You're absolutely correct. Yeah, as it stands, very, very impressive time there for Ethan Bass. And it's a good 0.3 quicker. It's a fair chunk up the road. And also having a look, you've got the Ford of Ethan Bass, then you've got 1, 2, 3, 4 BMWs after. Now that is a very, very impressive thing as well, because, yeah, the Ford, I mean, we know, don't we? The Ford is it's not a tricky car to drive. It's not a very easy car to drive, is it? It's a pretty tricky car to drive. And to it be in front of one of the easier cars to drive, and also one of the very, very popular cars in this series, it's a great sight to see. Not over yet, though. Could very well come off as well. We simply don't know. Cody Pryde's got another lap. Alvin Kettleberg has also got another lap because his first was invalidated. A couple of drivers now coming across the line to finish up. And who is it going to be? One of the first people that are going to be finishing up is Cody Pryde. Goes in second place. So he doesn't knock off Kettleberg. There we go for Alvin Kettleberg up into Svenja Masson, just goes up into P3. So there we go. That is the time that you can see now being set. The 1:29.10 is Daniel Gilding from Nomad Racing going to improve on his current times. Yes, he goes up into P6. Chris Chatterton, though, goes up into P9 in class. And then we've got, this is Joachim Code, goes across the line. No, another no improvement on that lap. Oh, no, it was an improvement, but there was no improvement on time. So that is the Pro-Am field done. And now, all that's left is the Pro category. Something that, again, is probably going to be equally as close.
Oh, it's going to be definitely equally as close, because I have the standings all here again. Now, it's the Alex show at the moment. Alex Bennett and Alex Gal, they cannot be separated, to the point they both have 85 points as their drop points. 595 plays 585. That is Bennett on top of Gal. And the last two races, it has been Alex Gal who's been able to chip away at that. It's been very interesting to see him chip away at that lead that Bennett's had. So that 10 points, it could be erased in one night. It could be chipped away, and we could get the final race of the season. Both drivers are identical points. There are other positions still being battled here. Kaz Huguenot still had the chance at the championship. 535 points. And then behind, Nicholas the Beach was sitting on 490. You've got Hardy Horton sitting on 470. Nick Madsen and Martin Nedglick both on 445. Those still have a chance to get to the podiums. For LaBiche and Horton, they will be able to still get to P2. I don't think LaBiche is here tonight, so that might be his championship over. Yeah, he was not here last week, and he won't be here this week, so that could be the end of LaBiche's championship contention. But yeah, for the likes of Harley Horton, who had that win, his second win of the season, who puts him joint leads overall for wins this season, it could be everything. But now we know we've got a lot of Lamborghinis and BMWs. We talked about the BMW strength. It's quite funny to see a Ferrari, a Ford, a Porsche, and a Lamborghini, the top four in the Pro-Ams. But I think we'll see a BMW dominance right here.
We might do, we might not. We really don't know at this point, to be fair, do we? It's still open still a bit up in arms for us. I mean, again, you know what, the BMW is looking impressive, but so's the Lamborghini. Sven Mattisson currently leading in the Lamborghini. Daniel Gilding down in P6, but Mattisson up in P3. Cody Pride again, the Porsche is fast. It's so hard to tell, but yeah, realistically, we know the cars are at least going to be up the grid. Ferraris are certainly going to be a car not to be messed with here. Obviously, you have Nick Madsen, Alex Gal, Cassiami, and yeah, actually, to be fair, Madsen, Gal, and Cassiami are the only 3 drivers in the Ferrari for the Pro Class. Harry Wills again in his lone Mercedes. Good to see him still kicking about in that Mercedes. I think I wonder Harry Wills for the for future seasons. Is Harry Wills going to be running? Do you reckon he's still going to run the Mercedes? He's got a soft spot for it, isn't he?
He's I just don't know. I love how every week I come in. You're right, Harry. No, I can't drive this thing. It does nothing. And I never know what to believe in that, because he said that a couple of seasons ago. I can't drive it. This is rubbish. I can't turn. It doesn't do anything. Next thing you know, we see Harry Wills top of the Pro-Ams, and I'm like, Harry, are you pulling an actual Mercedes here and just sandbagging? So who knows? It's very interesting. I know he wasn't driving it for Suzuka, which surprised me. So there might be a change on the cars. We don't even know if there's any new cars coming in terms of iRacing for GT3. So who knows? He might just decide, maybe pick up the Audi, maybe even take a page out of even Bass's playbook and drive the Ford. Who knows?
I mean, do you know what? It certainly wouldn't put it. I wouldn't put it past Harry Wills to drive something like the Ford. He does he certainly likes to give himself a challenge, of which the Mercedes is. Make no mistake, the Mercedes is a very, very challenging car to drive because it is one of the older cars on the service. Going now through, Alex Bennett will be one of the first people to set the lap. In fact, I think, yes, he is the first person to set the lap. Couldn't quite see who that was one. That may have been Harley Horton, so he won't be adding any times. Manitti Racing, where is the time? So it is straight over the 1:28.9, a couple of tenths faster than Kelber. Alex Gal immediately vetoes that. So that is Alex Gal now up only by 0.02 of a second, so almost nothing. But Sean Campbell, though, just goes, no thanks, and he now puts it on pole position by 8. Have a look at that on the left-hand side of your timing tower, by 8 thousandths of a second. How close do you want it to be? The answer, at the moment, as it stands, is very, very close indeed. Stuart Reynolds, unable to set a lap time, no recorded lap time for the first lap, as that would have been invalidated somewhere along the lines. But Sean Campbell, Alex Gal, and Alex Bennett only separated by 0.03 of a second. That is your top 3 in this provisional qualifying so far. Oh, we are in for a treat tonight. And I'm also seeing Alex Gal and Alex Bennett both putting in purple sectors. Oh, this is going to be interesting.
This is going to be interesting. Sean Campbell knows everything about this track. He came P2 at the end of last season here for a battle for the championship and ended up losing the title on a countback. You can actually watch it on our YouTube page. Go and check that out, as well as all other videos. You can see the dramatic finish of last season's World Series, where he went side by side for the final half of the lap of the season. What's going to happen here, though? Alex Bennett's going to be the first man to cross the line, followed by Cal Huguenot. What do we see? Bennett comes across the line. It's invalid. It's an invalid lap. Now then, what about Huguenot? Huguenot does not go faster. Alex Gal goes faster at 1:28.729. And Campbell's pointing to one side. I think he doesn't have a lap. Does he have a lap? No, he does not. Gal's going to take this. Campbell's going to be second. And I think Horton is going to stay P3. He is. I think Harry Wills is the last man to set a lap time. If he does set any lap time, unfortunately, it was invalid last time around. He'll come across the line. He'll be the last man to set a lap time. He comes across 1:33.92. Wow. That lap from Alex Gal, where did that come from? 1:28.729. Over a tenth faster than the BMW of Sean Campbell.
Very impressive. I mean, you look at a 10th, you think a 10th isn't too much, but when you're this close, it is certainly close. It's a very, very big gap. With how close everyone else is, that's a pretty sizable gap, realistically. So, over a 10th. In fact, I think it's one of the biggest gaps that we have within. It is the biggest gap we have in the top 5. That just goes to show how close it is. Absolutely madness. I mean, realistically, Alex Gal has got a nice bit of track position, but he's got to be careful because you never know. Sean Campbell, he's only, I know he's a 10th and a half off, but that's well within a slipstream opportunity, a 10th and a half. You can easily keep up. So Sean Campbell might be playing the long game here, might instead say, do you know what, I want to try and save on the fuel and then push maybe a little bit if he can. Come forward again after the first and second round of pit stops. Does depend though. You've got to be very, very committed to that. You can't decide halfway through that you want to change that strategy. You have to be committed to it if you do want to stick with that.
Yeah, and I know it myself as well. Sean Campbell, he will fuel save, but he's the type of driver that wants to get out there. He wants to be racing. If you've seen him before on Mazdas, Camel GT, driving late models, you name a series, he's probably driven it, and he likes to race. He wants to race. So will he get sucked into that whole plan of fuel saving, or will he do the Huguenot approach and just go, right, power, not a Huguenot, not a Huguenot, Harley Horse of me, but just go Jeremy Clarkson and go power. We just don't know. So we'll wait and see what happens there. So we're just going to get ready shortly as well, because of course it's a practice session, then they load in to a new session for this. It's almost a similar time. So once again, a shout out to the sponsors, Race Anywhere, of course, raceanywhere.co.uk for all your sim racing needs, and of course also Sim 3D at sim-3d.co.uk, providing some fantastic 3D printed gear like rumble kits, button boxes, even I think they have a LED flag light, so do check them out as well. So very shortly, we will have the first session. I'm just trying to think if there's anything else to talk about apart from, hit that subscribe button if you do like what we've got. And the transatlantic season is now finished, but the new Porsche season kicked off last night with pre-qualifying for both America and Europe. So get ready to check that out every Tuesday night if you're a fan of the Porsche Cup cars, because that promises to be fantastic to watch. I'm looking forward to watch it. And I think we're all looking forward to watch it. Even this certain person in the booth right now is racing in it, aren't you, Daniel?
I certainly am. Yes, I'm racing in the Pro-Am simply because my I rating isn't high enough. That just goes to show. Admittedly, my high rating isn't the highest in the world. I got 3.2 or something now. It's on the way up, but the strength of field in the Pro is like 5k. It's absolutely madness. Some very, very quick drivers in there, and some amazing racing. I was actually racing in the EU Porsche Cup, and I was broadcasting the US Porsche Cup. And just amazing racing both times. It's really good being both sides. It's my first league that I've done in probably about a year and a half to 2 years in that. Within iRacing, and I've just absolutely loved it. It's a really, really good experience. And that Porsche as well. What a fun car to drive.
Yeah, it's beautiful. I'm still trying to get the grips to it myself. I'm still used to the old one that's got a little bit less grip, but it is a car that really, if you haven't tried it, you've got to give it a go. I know the Porsches were actually at Red Bull Ring on iRacing a couple of weeks ago. Gave that a go myself. It was really interesting to see how it works. It's fantastic to see. So check that out every Tuesday night if you are interested. Of course, Wednesday with 2 races left after this, we will still be here for the World Series. But we will take a break. We will be back when the race session goes live. You will not miss anything apart from, you'll miss me walking around and getting ready for the race. We're getting ready for the race. Very shortly, you will see us for 75 minutes of the Red Bull Ring for the World Series here on Absolute Sim Racing. Do not go anywhere. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. You have just missed practice. We are here for the Race Anywhere World Series. We are here for round 8 at Red Bull Ring. You can just see that they're getting ready to grid up here. Alex Gow and Sean Campbell will be on the front row with Harley Horse and Alex Bennett in 3rd and 4th. Then it's Nick Madsen, Kaz Huguenot, Augusto Calasimi, Stuart Reynolds, and Harry Wills will line out the pros. And in the Pro-Ams, very quickly, is Alvin Kettleberg leading them off with Ethan Bass in P2, followed by Spenning Matheson and Cody Pry. Will Richardson and Daniel Gilding make up the next row, and then Daniel Sedgley and Thomas Reiter the row after. Chris Chatterton, Ryan Hamilton, and Joachim Code will round out the Pro-Ams. You can see again, 11-car field. Into the amateurs, it's Frederick Troy, Werner S., Simon Dodd, championship leader Taylor Sauerhaug, Dean Timms, Adrad El Haddad, Inga Lapsian, Magna John Longman, Goetz Gesek, Johan Assen, Edison Mangara, and Henning Haig will be at the back of the field. Remember, it's 75 minutes, 2 mandatory pit stops here as the drivers now start their way out of turn 6, it's turn 7, which is Worth, down into turn 8 and 9. Myself and Daniel Hanover with us again. Daniel, 75 minutes. We know we've already said about it. I think there's now no more time for talking. I think it's time to get ready to see who really does have the pace and the persistence at the Red Bull Ring.
Very true indeed. Let us see who is going to get the jump. There is Alex Gal, Sean Campbell right alongside. Obviously, there is a starting zone that drivers have to abide by in each of the classes. So let's see what happened. Alex Gal is primed, ready to go, as are all the other drivers. Car goes in, and you know what? Alex is holding them. Alex is still holding. He's still holding. Still holding. We see the Pro-Ams as well just behind there. And there we go. Alex Gow is now away. Very, very clean start. And you know what? Harley Horton might try and get the inside straight away of Sean Campbell.
Yeah, he's going to be making this move right away. We do see a couple of drivers a little bit touching at the back in the middle of the field there. That's Alex Bennett hitting Nick Madsen. But the front now with the space in the sprint does Do we see any positional battles at the front? We don't, but it's all very bunched up at the back. You've got the two teammates here, Kalasimi and Madsen, going together, and they both decide not to go for it. Now they decide too wide they go, and they're going to hold everybody up if they keep doing this, but they do keep on going. Pro-Ams have also come through right now. They're coming down the stop pit. They're coming down the straight as well into Remus, and you can just see it's going to be a late move by Svenny Matters here. Brilliant move there. He does force Ethan Bass a little bit wide. Now, can he make this move very quickly? I don't think he'll be able to. He'll be late braking here on Ethan Bass as they come down into turn 4. But he has to run now. He's going to try it. Side by side they go. Does he make the move? He does. Ethan Bass will keep that going. We do have a quick little look while we see Cody Pride just now going around. Hang on, Cody Pride going around the side now. You're just looking at the amateurs right now as they start their go by. And Cody Pride does go up now, just off camera, up to P3 as we see the amateurs starting their way.
Yes, certainly, sir. The amateurs everyone seems to be getting a pretty clean start as it turns out. Although Frederick Voy, what has happened? Frederick Voy's pulled a 2-second gap already. I think Werner S going to try and go up the inside straight away. Simon Dodd trying to go up the inside of Werner S. No move yet at the moment, but Werner S goes a little bit wide. That's cost him 1 position, possibly 2, possibly even 3. I don't think so. Satahab has been dropped down the order, but he now manages to go back. Werner S manages to hold in P3. At the moment, it's still very, very close up the front of the field. We are to go to those in a minute. We'll focus a little bit more now on the on the AM category for a moment. Dean Timms trying to have a bit of a look. He wants another position, doesn't he? Yeah, to be fair, every driver wants another position in the world, but Dean Timms, he's trying to look for the inside, trying to make an early position. Goes a little bit, well, it goes a little bit deeper, but ultimately no positions gained there. So as it stands at the moment, a few changes as well. Haddad has made up 2 positions already. Simon Dodd is up into P2. He's made up a position. I think Johan Assen has got a very, very good run on Magnar Jonland going through down into turn 1. Who is it going to be? Last of the late breakers. And it is going to be Johan Assen goes up the inside of Magnar Jonland. Jonland didn't really defend that too much, naturally, as you would expect, because there's no real point in defending it all that much, especially this early in the race. You just have to sort of let it happen, let it go, and try and get the move back a little bit further down the line. You see another little battles one. Haddad trying to get up the inside, but unfortunately losing that position to Werner S. He's now straight back up into P3. Next person on site is Simon Dodd. A few seconds, or a fair few tenths down the road. 1.4 seconds to be precise as it stands after the second time of asking. And then up in the front, though, Alvin Kettleberg is leading still, with Svenja Mattisson having made up. This is the Pro-Am field. Kettleberg racing the Verve Racing Team Mint car, the number 53, leads ahead of Svenja Mattisson, who has already made up a position on Cody Pride. Kettleberg is now having to set the pace here. Is he going to be able to set the pace for too much longer? I'm not entirely sure.
Yeah, it's interesting. He hasn't been setting the pace a lot in this World Series recently, but with the battles in front of him, with the battles behind him, it is interesting. Cody Pride has had some moves that he could have made some late moves on Sonny Masses, but decided against it after making a place up earlier in the race, and he decided that he was just going to lift a little bit, lift and coast, save a little bit of fuel there, just set himself for the long game. We know what Cody is able to do sometimes with this fuel saving in that Porsche, so it'll be interesting to see what he does. But Kettleberg, he has to lead them here, which is going to be interesting, because will that cause a lot of gaps, a lot of people bridge together? It'll be interesting to see. I think everybody at the moment, even Bassi had that fantastic lap. Is he struggling on pace? He already lost 2 positions at the start of this race. He hasn't lost anything yet, but he is starting to lose the back a little bit of that train. I think down this technical section, turn 4 down all to the end of turn 7, it's just not his bread and butter. But here's the pros, and you're not missing anything. There's only really been one major move in the pros, and that was Nick Madsen going from 5th all the way down to 7th as Huguenot and Calatini both made up a position there. As you can just see, I mean, it's the same thing. It's just a train everywhere here. And you see the lovely rear end here of Johan Assen. Look at this with this little battle here. 2 team slow-mo drivers, different teams, but the same principle. They are still the same team, and he just made that move pretty easily into Nicky Lauda. It looks like an easy overtake at Nicky Lauda curve, but that corner is very tight, and it can throw you off.
It certainly can. You're very, very true. Indeed. It's deceiving. It's a very deceiving corner. Similarly, so is turn 3 here. Turn 3 is a very deceiving corner as well, because you're never 100% sure. Like, you've got gravity working with you because it's slowing you down quicker. it does mean that you need to get a very good exit, because you have, for the first part of going down into turn 4, you then have gravity working against you. So you've got to make sure that you get a nice, good drive. As you go over the crest, then gravity starts working with you again, but that then extends the braking zone into turn 4. It's a very, very complex circuit here. It's filled with a load of medium high-speed corners, with a couple, obviously, the turn 3 being the slowest corner on the circuit. But it's just something that you've really, really got to keep an eye out for, because it's a very complex corner as well. Henning Haig trying to defend a little bit from Edson Manguera. And at the moment, that is indeed the case. Chad Chatterton has already come into the pits. I'm not 100% sure why, to be honest. Could be possibly race. Well, it had qualifying fuel, perhaps. That's my only thing that I can think of, because nothing has come up, so I don't think it's been an accident. I simply just think it's been possibly just maybe didn't have the correct fuel in the car.
That's what it looks like to me. It does feel like it has just been a little bit of fuel. We've all done it. We've all done it ourselves, and just I know it's a still image there. Look at that.
I was going to laugh in there, to be honest.
Not there that was, but that was the amateurs having a battle. But here's the real amateurs in real time, in moving picture, having their little go right now. That's Sauerhaug, championship leader. Moving picture. Sauerhaug. Now remember, he doesn't need to do well here.
No, he does not.
Hang
very,
on
very
a
true.
second.
What's happened to
Youngland? That was Youngland. He's just had a little bit of an off. I was saying, same teammates as well, same cars, same teammate, just a number different on the side. We just watched that very quickly. Now this is coming down to Rindt. That was coming down to Rindt at turn 9, I think it was. Did he just take the inside? He does. He just cut a little bit of the inside. The back just slid out a little bit there, and that took him all the way down. As I was saying, Sauerhaug doesn't need to do anything tonight. He just needs to stay alive, and if he's got battles in front of him, like Werner S and Al Haddad having a battle, then all the better, because he can just stay behind them and fuel save. But for the championship leader, this is one of those times where I'm like, yeah, go racing, but just go racing with bubble wrap around you. You don't need to do anything crazy tonight. Just solidify your championship standing.
Yeah, no, it's true. Like I said, you don't want to push the car too much. You really, really don't. Otherwise, you are going to put yourself in a position where you are going to cost yourself more than what you'll gain. It's not worth the risk. Henning Haig has just got past. I can see Gers Kaseki, and that was round the outside. That was a fair move. Wow. Fair enough. I think we might have a quick look at that maybe a little bit earlier on. So, okay. So there we go. So Henning Haig is forced round the outside by Kaseki, and then just pitches the car, gets on the throttle early. That Audi has got some very, very good traction, a very, very good setup in that car by the looks. And it's looking strong. That looked very, very strong indeed. Didn't look like Maggie Hongland really had to do much there. So certainly something that I'm sure that setup is working very, very well. Kettleberg being pressured by Matterson and also Cody Pride now. Oh, who's that? That's Harry Wills. Oh, wow, that was a little bit close, wasn't it? I think everyone manages to get through. That was Harry Wills. What happened there? I imagine maybe a little bit of curb. Looking at that spin, God, I don't know. It could have been a bit curb on the inside and it rotated the car that way. It rotated the car the wrong way. That's not ideal, is it? But this is it hasn't really changed much, if anything. It's actually created the gap between Cody Pride and Ethan Bass, and that gap has extended even further.
We've just missed Sauerhaug almost making a double overtake here. He managed to make it 3 wide and got the move past El Haddad, and Dean Timms has now joined in. He could not get past Werner Esto, and now look at this. Timms and Sauerhaug having a little battle here down in to turn 5, now into turn 6 into Rouch, and the inside belongs to Dean Timms. He'll take it. He's a little bit slow there. Compromised exit there. Compromised speed in the apex. Can Sauerhaug do it? He's right back where he started at the start of this lap. He saw an opportunity coming out of Nicky Lauda curve, and he thought he could take it, and he did get past El Haddad, but he could not get past Werner S, so he will have to start again. We're probably just going to see this. We're going to see Harry Wills now, and that is definitely, well, the car just wouldn't turn there for a moment. Gets on the throttle in the asphalt there, and the tarmac, sorry, the gravel, and hold your brakes, and that's always a scary moment. And here's this almost free ride right here from Sauerhaug. Look at this, the ability, the trust. It's all there, and if he just broke a little bit deeper, he might have had that. But that traction that BMW has around the outside, we've already seen it before. The outside there is such a strong Well, sorry, not a strong corner, such a strong line.
Yeah, I mean, to be fair, it is off of the what you would expect to be the normal race line. Yes, however, what it does is you're not actually. That's the back of Augusto Cassiami. Nick Madsen it's there. Wait, what has happened to Nick Madsen? Nick Madsen has dropped. Well, he's dropped two. Oh, he started 5th actually. I thought he would have dropped. Yeah, sorry, I'm getting myself confused. Yeah, the outside line, you don't go through that sort of like small little rut in the at the point of the apex, so you can get a good drive going through. Arguably, which, as we've seen here, is certainly a viable line that a lot of drivers are taking. Very, very close. And Nick Madsen wants this move, doesn't he? He's trying to get by, or at least he's trying to pressure Cassiami into a mistake. Does it also look like, correct me if I'm wrong, is there a bit of damage on the front left car of Madsen? Looks like front left corner. Yeah, well, there'll be a bit more damage there, possibly. Wow, that was a little bit close, wasn't it?
There's a little bit of scraping. There is a little bit of scraping, a little bit of a dent. I agree with you there. I don't know where he's got that from. He's got that early on by the looks of it. He's had that since the start of the race. So something must have happened lap 1 that we did not see that caused him that damage. And he's been having that since the start of the race. Now, if we take the pit stop, it's only going to be a couple seconds, I would think. But you don't really want to lose seconds right here. So we'll wait and see. Cody Pride, though, I mean, what can Cody Pride do? And, I was going to say, what else can Cody Pride do? He's just made his way up here through the order, like we're seeing Sauerhaug has done, like we're seeing these guys doing, Johan Aston and Ingo Lapsian having a little bit of a battle, had in front of them. And you just see there are battles still everywhere. Now, there's a lot of slipstreaming. I mean, we've looked at the pros. We'll go back to the pros later on, because literally everyone is in a slipstream at the moment. But for everywhere else, they are battling. Daniel Sedgley here needs a good result. Needs to keep in with a chance for the championship. He's battling Will Richardson right now. Has to go on the defense. He'll come out of turn 1. Turn 1, I don't think is well Richardson will set up. If Richardson wants a move here, he'll do it into turn 3. But like we've seen again, I've got to say, I've got to go back to it. Nobody's really made a convincing overtake in turn 3 on the inside yet.
No, I'd say one move that I do want to see actually was Cody Pride, because Cody Pride made a move on Sven Maston. This is one for P2, and this is going into turn 1. Is it round the outside? Actually, you know what? I think Maston just got a little bit wide. Maston went wide, and that cost him significant amount of time. Was it even a slowdown? I don't think it was a slowdown. Didn't look like a slowdown. But arguably that has obviously cost the position. Is that position going to come back? I don't think it will come back for a while. The gap is a second. That gap will come down, I'm sure. But is there going to be a pass? There may not be. We'll have to see. We'll have to see how that materialises. And we will obviously be able to let you know. Haddad goes a little bit wide, and that allows, I believe, Sauerhaug has now gone up the inside. I think. Correct me if I'm wrong. Let's have a quick look. No, so it was Haddad trying to actually make the move on Sauerhaug, but he just goes a little bit wide. There's the drive on the Lamborghini. So it really depends, actually. Do you know what I think? It's how you hit the corner. Some people prefer an outside line, some people prefer an inside line, and then some drivers, by the looks of it, can simply drive both, which is ideal. That's the preferred way to do that. You want to be able to drive both lines, don't you? Because obviously you want the best of both worlds, just in case you are either on the inside or the outside of the circuit.
Yeah, I prefer the right way, but any way will do. It takes a million ways to take a corner, and we see a lot of that around here just because of just how tight it is and the lines we're seeing. So this is Alvin Kettleberg. He is still leading the Pro-Ams. I am surprised at that in Pro-Ams. I thought that the pace may have gone off a little bit there, but he's got Cody Pride in front of him. Like behind him, sorry, I beg your pardon. Like, what can Cody Pride? He has been racing. He has been racing quite a bit, Cody Pride. And you can see that he does want to go for this a bit because he's close to the car where it doesn't feel like fuel saving. To me, it feels attacking. If it was fuel saving, I would hear a little bit of lifting. I'd hear a bit of early braking. But he's pushing up to the back of Alvin Kettleberg there. So expect him to make a move. We're only 15 minutes into the race here. And you got to think that Cody Price made up 3 places in this race. Daniel Sedgley's made up 3 places. You look at Ryan Hamilton, Joachim Code, both making up 4 places overall in the race. I know there have been some pro drivers that have had some issues there, but regardless, they have made some early moves. The amateurs, we're seeing a little bit of that as well. But can Cody Pride make it? He's a bit too far away, and I'm not hearing any fuel saving, which is interesting because last race he was able to fuel save, been able to keep ahead there and having some good little battles with that fuel saving. What can he do today? Kettleberg's not defending this unless... There you go. And there, I just heard it. There is a lift there from Cody Pride. I will eat my words. But look, this is something that I strive to do, or I strive to be better at. This is something I think drivers need to strive to be good. He's being aggressive at being passive. He's staying behind, but he's not leaving too big of a gap. He's able to keep that gap between 2/10 and 3/10. Now, if you can do that, even with lap traffic, with guys your slipstream, that is vital because that gives the opportunity, if they make a mistake, to get an easily clean pass. This is something that I think a lot of drivers need to pick up as a skill.
Yeah, there's a fine line. Arguably, this is easier to manage in a way because you aren't pushing the car as hard. If you can stay with someone who utilises slipstream and save fuel at the same time, it was a big talking point. It was a big thing yesterday in the pre-qualifiers for the Porsche Cup, both the EU and the US. You weren't actually driving the car all that aggressively. At one point, I didn't have anyone in front of me, yet I was still lifting and coasting quite heavily down the straights because there was no need to try and drive flat out because it's just the nature of the circuit. And Red Bull Ring certainly has some similarities, obviously not in the length or anything like that, but it is a it is a slipstream-based track to a certain degree. So, you do have to take that into consideration. And yeah, if you can master that, you will do very, very well in endurance races. Arguably, this would not necessarily be classed as an endurance race. It's an endurance format, but it wouldn't be classed as an endurance race by most modern standard, which is 4 hours, 6 hours. 4 hours sometimes isn't even classed as an endurance race, to be fair. It does. It certainly is a skill that if you can master, you will do exceptionally well. And you'll be consistent with it as well because, yeah, like I said, you won't have to push the car as much all of the time.
And also, you save tyres. You save tyres. And this is Ryan Hamilton. Is he going to take the inside and lose the back of it? Nope, just an off-track there. And there he goes, taking a bit too much speed. Probably a bit late there. That's not going to save the tyres. He does get it back going, though. I think he may have also got an off-track there, but that's not a big issue. Magma Yonland as well, coming down to, I believe this is turn 6. And does he make a mistake as well? He does. And fair play. That is not an easy corner section there, just because of how late you have to take the apex and the speed you have to carry. I learned that myself with the Porsche Cup car. We're talking about Porsche Cup car a lot here. I wonder why. It happens there with the late braking. Now, is this an overtake here from Henning Haig? It is. That is down into turn 4. Pretty cookie cutter there. Remember, that run down from turn 3 to turn 4 is a DRS zone in F1. So when I see DRS zones, I think of an overtake. And hang on a second, that is Ryan Hamilton again going around. And he's gone around again. Now, can he get around before the amateurs get here? I wonder. I think he's going to be okay, but it's all going wrong for Ryan Hamilton today. Oh, that was the last corner.
Yeah, last corner again. Might have been a carbon copy. Looked to be happening a little bit later into the corner that time, though. So certainly not ideal for Ryan Hamilton at this moment of the race. Haddad trying to get a move on Saltahav. This could very well be it. Saltahav, he's not defending. Didn't go on the defensive. I imagine he's going to try and let that position happen. Yeah, look at that. He backs off early. Do you know what he's going to try and do? Well, I thought he was going to try and carry the speed going through, but instead he just drives it round the outside instead. Tries to take his normal racing line, as you do. Ingo Lapsian, though, he's in a great position at this point because Haddad and Saltahav, they're side by side. They're almost, they're actually boxing Lapsian in. They're working together. That's a bit brave. Oh, we need to have a watch of that again, possibly, if we can see from Henning Haig's perspective. And it's still going. So Saltahav and Haddad are still side by side. Saltahav, though, with the better drive. He is now a 10.5 in front. And there we go. Haddad has to settle back into that position. That was an overtake that didn't quite last, and it seemed to go on forever with no real gain.
And look at these lines everyone's taking. How Haddad's going to try and go around the outside of 4. And he does. Wow. So that technically is Saltahav going around the outside of 3. Because he set himself up. Now behind them, you've got Ingo Laptian and Henning Haig having a little battle, and they're side by side. So let's just go back a couple cars and see this battle now, side by side now through Verf in turn 7. Into turn 8 will definitely be. They got Ryan Hamilton. Ryan Hamilton has another move, and he's gone off the track. I think so. He's not right with that car. Ingo Laptian holds on to this position, but can Henning Haig make it? He cannot. just in the space of a couple seconds there, it's all gone wrong. And look at this move, late move from Henning Haig, and they're going to be side by side through Red Bull Mobile, and they're still side by side. And I think Henning Haig has just pulled off an overtake in one of the tightest corners of the track. Now they're still side by side. Johan is watching behind, and he just gets in front of him at the braking zone. But Henning Haig makes that move. He's been looking for that move for half a lap, and because of everything going on in front, especially with Lapsian getting caught up there with that little battle between Sauerhagen Hay and Haddad, has been able to use that as an advantage. But look at this now. They're 2 seconds, almost a second and a half even, away from El Haddad because of all their battling when they were right on their bumper at this stage last lap.
Yeah, very, very true indeed. I think realistically as well, we can... it was a very, very committed move there from Henning Haig as well, and we're seeing a lot of respectful driving also. Let's be honest, what could have happened here if you were in an official race? That would just be absolute carnage, but not the case here. Really respectful, and that was again one of the things I found yesterday with racing. Let's say for the first time in a league like this, it was just so respectful. Werner S has gone off though. What's happened to Werner S? I don't actually. Werner S has gone off somewhere. I think it was on the entry into turn 6. We'll see if we can get a replay of that. Still running out on board with Johan Assen, who had front row seats with that battle a couple of moments ago. Speaking of which, though, this is the battle continuing on for the lead in the Pro-Am category. Cody Pride is still there. He is not budging an inch, and this is a great position for him to be in. It's not going to make a difference in the first round of pit stops, no, because it's going to be it's just going to be a full tank. But it's the second pit stops. That's where it's going to make the difference. So arguably, Cody Pride wants to actually get out behind Alvin Kettleberg, going through down into the in the second stint. And what then you would want to do is you would then want to simply push the car a little bit harder, going on to the third stint. When you come into the pits, you should be able to do an extra lap, possibly even 2, depending on how much fuel you save, and that should see the overcut happen there. So again, might not necessarily happen like that, but we'll have to see. So this battle, it's not really a battle at the moment, it's more just it's ticking over, I think, at this point.
Yeah, I think Cody's just decided that this is where he wants to be. He's not in a direct battle with Alvin Kettleberg overall. Now, this is Werner S. Now, where does he lose this? Does he just lose it on the grip around 6? Another spin at turn 6 there, and that was so close to picking up. I think that was Simon Dodd. Very close to picking up Simon Dodd there with the hit, so that was unlucky. Now, I was looking at this in the pros. This isn't the driver I was looking at. But it's interesting to see that timing tower. Alex Bennett has only just gotten back into slipstream. He's been struggling. He's 3 cars, well, 2 cars really. The gap between him and Alex Gow is 2 cars. So at the moment, he's losing he's losing 20 points in the championship at this stage. So nothing to worry about yet. We've only had, 25 minutes, if that. The pit window will be opening soon. But he needs to just see if he can just save something at the moment around here, because if he doesn't, he is in trouble around here, because, with slipstream, you save your fuel, you're able to keep up there. So Alex Bennett needs to make sure he stays in this slipstream with Harley Horton, otherwise it's not going to go well for him. But you can just see there's kind of like 2 trains going on once again. Alex Gow, Sean Campbell, Harley Horton, with Alex Bennett just there, and then you've got Cal Huguenot, Nick Madsen, Augusto Calatini, all these 3 cars right here, just having a nice little drive at them. I wouldn't say it's a gentleman's drive, but you get the idea that these guys are just waiting for the fireworks to be set off once the first pit stops come in. And hello, Ingo Lapsian, and oh my days, what has happened there?
I don't actually know, to be fair. I want to see if we can get a bit more of a replay on that. See if we can get an early replay and actually see, getting an understanding of what actually happened. Let's have a quick look at. Oh, was that a touch? Was that a touch from a BMW? It may have been. Was that Werner S? That might have been, Difficult to say. Let's see if we can go even further back and have a look on board. But that, that's not ideal, is it? That's certainly not what you want. Especially, only again 25 minutes into the race. Where is Werner S? So Werner S, no, it's not Werner S, so apologies. It is a BMW, but I can't quite see who it is. Who would look back on the gearbox? No, it's a bit of a longer replay, but we've got a little bit of time. I can't see the number. I cannot see the number for the life of me. Is that Johannes?
I think that the only BMW that I know of that colour, it's got to be Johansen. Not that
indeed.
I'm trying to play. Yeah, it's Johansen. And is there a touch here? I think
Oh no, there wasn't.
Oh no, no touch. But wait! That they are very happy that they have that type of runoff there. Now these two have been battling once again. That's El Haddad going side by side with Henning Haig. Henning Haig made the move in to turn 3, and they've still been battling. And now, unfortunately, though, Henning Haig's going to have to defend around the outside of turn 6. He's not going to make it, but he is still just making the line compromise a little bit for El Haddad. But he's unable to catch up to him. Now, is there a slingshot here? I think he just grabbed a little bit of the dirt there, so I don't doubt he'll see a slingshot. I don't doubt he's going to go for that move like he did at turn 10 again. Stranger things have definitely happened. But I'm just thinking, you know, play it safe. He does get a good run, though. He does get a very good run. I doubt this will allow him to get an overtake, though. Just look at the speed difference, though. Look at how quick he's getting. Look how close it is. He thinks about it, and at the last moment, he just decides no. But this exit speed, this Audi's getting, is just fantastic. And we're back in the same place we were last lap, because Henning Haig now wants to make this move. He's going to be looking to make this move. Maybe. You can just see how close he is. And there you go. El Haddad has decided to go on at the inside, but we know the inside's not been very good. Can Henning Haig make this around the outside? He's got the traction. I don't think he's got the pull, but they're side by side. They're even. As it was being oval racing, they're even.
You know
even,
Haig's
and now
got it.
quarter, and now the door. They're almost. He's got it with pace. It's going to have to be late braking for El Haddad to make this move. And you know what? He's got that. Late braking again. But last thing I checked, next corner's a left-hander, and Henning Haig's on the inside. I think he's going to hold on to this. Does he finally make this move go on? Around he goes.
Oh my God.
El Haddad. El Haddad is keeping on to this. They are side by side. And El Haddad, they make this. No. Henning Haig's going to stay with him. They're still side by side into turn 8. They still have the same pace. Can El Haddad now eliminate speed? I think he can. They're still side by side. Side by side into 9. Are you kidding me? I think Henning Haig finally yielded. What racing from these two? Brilliant. And don't tell me you've messed it up now, Haddad. He has. Henning Haig is now they're side by side once again. What a race that for the last lap. Brilliant by those two guys.
I tell you what, have a look at this because Sattar's trying to go up the inside of Haddad. He tries to do it, but Haddad has got something. I don't know what he's got in that car. He's got some extra ticky tyres or something. He's got some commitment around the outside. Absolutely amazing stuff. So Henning Haig ultimately obviously got that position with Haddad running just that little bit too wide. But oh my word, what a lap. Do you know why I reckon that he might actually, to be fair, with Haddad actually running a little bit wide there? I reckon he did, just because he was on the marbles for so long. Tried to get the car turned in where you would normally. The car just couldn't stick. It just was not happy where it was. So that was unfortunately the ultimate demise of Haddad there. But oh my goodness, what an amazing bit of racing there. Fantastic stuff. I'm glad we saw that from the onboard. Madsen has now got past Cas Huguenot going into turn 3. Again, round the outside this time, utilising the drive of that car. And the drive of the Ferrari versus Lamborghini. And it was Ferrari that came out on top that time around. So Nick Madsen has decided that he doesn't want to sit behind Cas Huguenot anymore. Maybe he's reckoning that he recognising that he saved enough fuel. What he might do, actually thinking about it, I wonder if he's going to come into the pit lane. Is he going to get track position to try and come in? Might be it, I reckon. He may not come in this lap, possibly next lap.
Yeah, I mean, I must admit, that's what I was thinking the moment I saw it. We see the first of the pitters overall in the race. Simon Dodd comes into the pits. He'll be the first one. Ryan Hamilton joins him as well. So pit window is officially open. It's been open for the last five minutes, really, but this is now where the tank is depleted. They are 13 minutes of racing, and it is now starting to go. Harley Horton is the first of the pros to come into the pit, and now everybody joins in. Huguenot, Calatini, Reynolds, they're all in right now. So the bottom 4 of the pros of that running order, they all are into the pits. We don't see anything yet. As you see, there's Alex Gow got a little bit of toe with. Now who is that? That is Lapsian, isn't it? Yeah, that's Ingo Lapsian there. A little bit of toe. I think Ingo's just gonna let him by, and I think that's what he's gonna be doing. Just hoping, yeah, he just yields, lets him by, but it does give him a little bit of a toe over Sean Campbell. Sean Campbell does get by Ingo Lapsian. Fair play to him, just deciding to hold on. But I would reckon we would see Campbell pit in another lap. I reckon Alex Gal probably as well has another lap, as the Pro-Ams are now starting to come in. And unless your name's Cody Pride, Alvin Kettleberg, Ethan Bass, and Joachim Coe. Very interesting how the back of the field are pitting instead of the front.
Yeah, I mean, it sort of makes sense, I suppose, in a way, because the people at the back of the field may not have been saving as much. From what I can see, Alex Gal now comes into the pit lane. It's not a very long lap, to be fair. It's a minute 30 lap, and it's something that it's baffling, is it? Because an F1 car does this in a minute. It's just absolutely madness. It really, really is. Go to show how quick those cars are. I don't know why, but this is a random fact for everyone. There you go. A Formula 1 car, Magellan, I don't know why this is reminding me, but just the speed of an F1 car, and I really want to get this off my chest because it's an amazing fact. A Formula 1 car I found out the other day actually gains 4 seconds on a MotoGP bike in turn 1 at Magellan.
What?
Yep. I kid you not. It's just the speed. I'd be interested to see the difference between a GT3 car compared to a Formula 1 car in the likes of like turn 4 or something. It's just absolutely ridiculous. The difference, obviously, speed difference when you get like an LMP2 car compared to a GT3. Obviously, they race together in certain series in IMSA. That's just another level. Back to racing. Harley Horton manages to come out. Do you know what? He's got a good run here. He might have a bit of a look. Go straight into the slipstream. Is he going to have a quick look on Sean Campbell? I don't think so. If anything, I think he might just actually sit there. No, he's too far back. I thought he had the run there, to be honest. It looked like he gained a massive overspeed on the way out turn 1. But that seemed to be wasn't the case. Certainly caught up, though, and once again, the top 4 are now battling all together. Well, they're, again, not battling, but they're certainly very, very close to one another. I'm not... I think Harley Horton has got pace. Horton's actual... to be fair, Harley Horton's strategy tends to be, he doesn't really feel safe, does he? If he gets a bit of clean air, he is gone. That's what it tends to be. I wonder if that's going to be the same here. Is he going to try and get past and make the moves on Sean Campbell and Alex Gal and then try and drive off into the distance?
It's going to be tough. It's going to be tough on Campbell. Campbell is a fighter. We know that very well. And we also know what Alex Gal can do. But at the same time, Alex Gal will let him go and just use the fuel save to his advantage. But for Harley Horton, he doesn't like to use that. We've known that before. We interviewed him last week. He made his comments clear. I wouldn't say he was throwing the gauntlet down, but he just made it clear that he just felt this was the sprint and he was going to use that to his advantage. So he's going to be looking for that, but I don't think we'll see that at the moment. Now, this is the amateurs. We have seen one of these cars, not this car, it was Ingo Lapsian we saw just going by. Now, in front, you can just see there is a little bit of a battle going on in front of Mangera. And that is Johan Assen and Sauerhaug. And they're going to be having a little bit of a battle. I think Assen is going to make this. Yeah. Excuse me. Sauerhaug is going to go. Now, interestingly, is that position? That cannot be right. No, Frederick Roy and Simon Dodd are still out there for the amateurs. Very interesting to see them so far ahead. But these two constantly battling. We're in that pit window at the moment. Where you just got to work out where everybody is, and it's thankfully with the timing towers we've got this information. So if you're on the old iRacing system, you don't know. But this is fantastic to see what they're doing at the moment. Now the slow-mo drivers, they do race each other, but they do race and then they swap position. So in some respects, sometimes it's a little bit, I would say a little bit faster, but for the amateurs, I would say the switching of positions helps them more than the fuel save. Just because they keep the speed up. I don't know if you would agree.
Yeah, I think, again, it depends on the circuit, doesn't it? Your strategy really does need to change sort of circuit by circuit in a way. But yeah, no, I certainly would agree with you. Definitely for certain tracks. Other tracks, again, it really just, I'm not too sure. Yeah, I think the more and more I'm thinking about it, the more I'm talking myself out of and agreeing with you more. To be fair. So, yeah, there we go. I've just had a quick look as well. Ethan Bass has had an incident. I'll just have a quick look at this. Oh, it's down into turn 3. Is it a bit too late on the brakes by the looks? Is it just a little bit aggressive on the throttle, maybe? Oh, there we go. That's
gotta hurt.
Yes. I mean, to be fair, gets it spun around, gets it going again. But that has unfortunately cost Ethan Bass 2 positions. That's now Ethan Bass is 2 down from where he started. He started in P3. He's now sitting down in P5. That is certainly not what you want to see. I'm sure that will be Ethan Bass will be kicking himself with that.
Yeah, of course. You can also see on the timing tower, Cody Pride has retaken, well, not retaken, he has got the lead of the Pro-Ams after the first pit stops. We did say that, though. He is very, I wouldn't say he's skillful, but he's very good when it comes to that fuel saving and what he can do on a pit stop. So he took the lead. Alvin Kettleberg does have a little bit of slipstream on him, so we'll be keeping an eye on that, as you can see on the timing towers. Remember, anything less than a second is in yellow, anything less than half a second is in orange. So if you're on low bandwidth, you're able to see that. If you're just struggling, I know what it's like on phone in. That's Ryan Hamilton again! That's Ryan Hamilton again! We can just see on the background having another moment there. It's not gone right for him that last corner. Like I said, something must have happened there for him to do that. And Nick Madsen now comes into the pits. Nick Madsen's coming into the pit. Hasn't he just already pitted? He has. Has he had a penalty to serve? Because he's had 3 invalid laps. So no idea what's happened there for Nick Madsen. I'm guessing he might have sped on the exit. Yeah, I think he sped on the exit. So that's a bit of a shame for Nick Madsen. Or was it a white line? I'm not sure what happened there with Nick Madsen. Oh, white line for Nick Madsen. I just checked that myself. So that's why he's gone to the pit. Yeah, it was an unsafe pit exit. So that's his race. Unfortunately, well, you're a little bit without going down a white water without a paddle there, if you know what I'm trying to say. But unfortunately, that's his. Well, it was and that's is that Ryan Hamilton again. I mean, I don't want to pick on the poor man, but it does feel like where's Wally at the moment. Every time we're getting somewhere, we're seeing Ryan Hamilton, and is it just the inside? Yeah,
I mean, what I would probably do if I was an engineering perspective, I would probably ask, you can adjust the brake bias in these cars. I know what it's like to be in that position, because what happens is you'll spin once, your tyres have heat in them, and they have a bit too much heat and they do overheat. Then if you have another spin, obviously because it's a bit more difficult to control, then you have the tyres get even hotter, then you spin it, and it can actually have a really knock-on effect very, very quickly. I've certainly been in that position myself. So I fully understand where the issue that Ryan Hamilton is having. What I would probably suggest is, who was that? That was a slowdown. Cody Pride was, sorry. Cody Pride was actually just no, that wasn't number 82. Who is the number 82? Oh, it was a back marker, sorry, England absent. Yeah, what I would actually do is go to Ryan Hamilton and say, probably actually move the brake bias a few clicks forward, maybe 1% or 1.5% forward, just to give the front end a little bit more stability. Looks like the rear is just coming around. Whether there is damage to the car, maybe some suspension damage or something similar, possibly, I don't really know. But that's what I would be saying, just from what we've seen here, just to move the brake bias a little bit further forward, just to give a bit more stability on that front axle. It's amazing how just a couple of clicks will make the world of difference when it comes to stability, especially if you're moving it forward. If you're comfortable with rearward bias, absolutely go for it, but that's what I would probably suggest there.
Yeah, I mean, at this stage, just anything really, as well as just clearing your mind as well, because getting so many spins has to be demoralizing. I know that myself, so that it's one that you've just got to pick yourself up, and it is hard, but that's racing, unfortunately. And you know, another day you're probably gonna have a fantastic day and you don't make mistakes. So everyone has an off day, and it's just a shame it's happened at this type of track at this part of the season. So that's unfortunate there for Hamilton. But Frederick Roy and Simon Dodd having this little battle now. There is a Pro-Am between them and Dean Timms. I mean, am I seeing this gap right? Yes. That's not an error. That is a 12-second gap between the leaders of the amateurs and P3. Now, I'm not sure where that gap's come from. That is quite a big gap. But regardless, Simon Dodd and Frederick Droy, a Ferrari and a BMW walk into Spielberg and just basically just take control of the amateurs. I'm not sure what's happened here for them to have such a dominant lead, but obviously something's happened. In fact, I just realized Sauerhaug is it's still, P5 overall in the amateurs. So has something happened just between, or is that just a result of, all the battles we saw with Henning Haig and El Haddad and everything? Because it's very interesting to see that now. And by the way, El Haddad, unfortunately, I think he had an accident somewhere because he is right at the back of the field. But yeah, is that just a case of just everybody battling and just allowing the leaders to go through? It does feel like that.
Yeah, I don't know, really. I don't know what's happening. We've certainly seen a bit of an upset in this grid, haven't we? And it's really extended. Lots of people on different strategies, possibly. I don't really know. The gaps shouldn't be this big, to be perfectly honest. They shouldn't be as big as they are. So I'm not 100% sure as to why. Again, all we need to do is really just see what goes on in the next round of pit stops. And although we're not far away from those next round of pit stops, to be fair, we are halfway through the race now. 41 minutes and 40 seconds have gone. So if my maths are correct, we have 36 minutes remaining. Is that right or is that wrong?
No, you're close. 33 minutes remaining. Not bad with the maths. Chad is telling me that it was when Tim's had to avoid Werner S when Werner S spun. I guess that does make sense because Werner S did have that spin. It only would have been a few seconds, but regardless, like I said, there's been a lot of battling going on in the amateurs. Some fantastic battling. We haven't seen that for a while. Too wide for half, practically the whole lap. So some great battling down the amateurs. But as you think, battling's all fun, but when you're in a type of race here where the slipstream is so dependent for fuel saving and keeping track position, having those battles so early just really throw you off a chase there. And unfortunately, I think that's what's happened there. So Sauerhagen now, he is just pointing to one side to let Alex Gal through. Let's see. But if he's P6, I mean, he could be complacent with P6. At the end of the day, it's just one of those things that he's unable to do. And there we go with one of the people there. We did mention that it's his teammate is just in chat there. The teammate who's borrowing his rig. He's actually on a business trip. So that's wow. Even more impressive. He's on a business trip. He's taking time off his business trip to go racing. That's just amazing. I don't even know what the setup is compared to his setup or what, but I thought it was just him just driving up because there was an issue. No, he is on a business trip. He's out of his region, and he's on. So that's just amazing. Wow.
It shows commitment, doesn't it? It really, really shows commitment. I don't get how you can adapt. Yeah, that's it's very, very impressive indeed. Considering you've got obviously lots of other things going on in your mind, you've got business, and you're still able to focus on performing in a series as well. Absolutely fantastic stuff, and arguably, again, what it does show, it shows the commitment here, doesn't it? It shows the commitment that people have to drive into racing with us and with WRL, and I think that really just gives kudos to the series organisers themselves, Harry, Dean and all the admins as well, like putting in the time and the effort to make what is an absolutely incredible series of events, both obviously in the RAWS and the RATC that were finished last week, and then also down into the Porsche series. This is just the start. There are many, many more things to come, which I am thoroughly looking forward to hopefully when they do start up. And yeah, it's just going to be, I simply cannot wait. But ultimately, now getting into the final third of the race here, as we are just about to sit down to the half hour remaining. Second round of pit stops, probably about, maybe say 13 minutes out, 13, 15 minutes out, do you reckon? That's certainly going to shake the order up as well, because we will see some people that have been saving quite a lot of fuel. We'll see other people that aren't saving a lot of fuel. I'm interested to know, actually, I just want to, so we can ride on board with Harley Hornton, just want to hear how much fuel saving, if any fuel saving, is actually going ahead with Harley Hornton. Let's see sort of what happens, because Alex Gal is pulling the time at the moment. Not by much, but the time is certainly going down. Interestingly enough, Alex Gal and Sean Campbell actually made both their last lap times were absolutely identical, at least for the nearest 100th anyway. I want to know if Harley Horton is saving fuel. He's going to try and get the overcut, possibly. Very wide though. I tell you what, these drivers are they're exploring limits, I think, aren't they, with track limits, because they've got to be pretty close. No fuel zone for Harley Horton though, so maybe the top three just simply are going absolutely all out at this stage of the race.
Going all out, but again, I have to keep stressing Alex Bennett is in P4, and he needs to, just having a quick look here at Will Richardson just to see what again, turn 6. I mean, don't try having a drinking game. We don't condone drinking, but don't, because if you had turn 6 on your drinking game card, unfortunately I think you're gonna have some issues. Yeah, I was gonna say Alex Bennett's in P4. Now, he needs to get up there, really. He needs to kind of find a way to get around Harley Horton and Sean Campbell. It's not going well for this Lamborghini, and it's not a Lamborghini thing because Harley Horton's there. He's in P3. Top 4 have not changed positions at all since the start of the race. Well, they probably had a couple of switches, but the same 4 are in 1, 2, 3, and 4 at the moment. Now, Alex Gal, I mean, he's having a little bit of traffic issues here as he gets around turn 7 and 8. He's pretty fine where he is at the moment. I was just about to say, the pit window has opened and some pit drivers are starting to take pit stops. But these guys, you'll see them go to the absolute end. And Alex Bennett, I hate to say it, everyone's going to hate me for this. If I'm Alex Bennett right now, I'm undercutting because of the traffic. Because you look at the traffic that they're all getting at the moment now, you're just off the slipstream. If I'm Alex Bennett, this is a crucial time in the championship because this is going to turn a 10-point deficit to almost 30 points. I mean, I'm doing the maths at the top of my head. I think if you're Alex Bennett right now, you've got to think of something different. If you think you can beat Harley Horton on pace, go for it. But we know when Harley Horton gets out in front, he starts to be fast. Can he get past Sean Campbell? We know what Sean Campbell can do, and he will take it too wide comfortably, and you've got to have that commitment. Alex Gal, I don't think his battle rights now of Alex Gal. He needs to get up to P2 at least, and if I'm Alex Bennett, I'm undercutting right now. There's enough time on the clock to take the tank, to take a full tank of fuel, and go to the end. And if I'm Alex Bennett, I'm taking the risk of not getting some low fuel laps now, and just saving up and just getting the right track position. Because right now, yeah, I just don't think he's going to get a position if he fuel saves.
Possibly not. It's a it's a tricky one, and Alex Bennett has got to make a decision. He's got to make a decision probably within the next 5 minutes or so. The other thing it does depend on is where the move. You know, if Alex Bennett were to pit now, for example, where would he come out? Would he come out in traffic? Would he get held up even more? It's a tricky one. Only Alex Bennett is the one able to decide. I don't know if he's got teammates or if he's got engineers working with him that will be helping him along. Quite possibly. We simply don't know. But yeah, I'm not 100% sure what Alex Bennett is going to do. Neither of us know. To be fair, we've got ideas of what we would do. Absolutely. But ultimately, it's up to Alex Bennett. But he does need to try something. Although you say you need to try something. If anything, I don't know, do you? Because you're damned if you do, damned if you don't. If you try something, it doesn't work, you lose out. If you don't try something and you don't get any positions, you still lose out. You know, so if anything, the safer bet would be to just sit behind, maybe conserve fuel, maybe not, just simply sit there and then try and battle with Harley Horton and try and get up the positions. Or you do something a little bit more daring, but that could very much cost you. Like, after this round, if something like that happens and it does not work out, that could be it. That could be end of championship runnings for Alex Bennett.
And of course, not to mention as well, they have a drop. Both Alexes here have a drop week of 85 points, which is, I'm just trying to think right now, is a P4. So that's not good for Bennett, because a P4, you know, he's already got that drop week of P4, which is going to be an issue. But if he crashes out, is that a P0? Well, he's done over half the race. I'm not sure. Can't remember the rules per se, but if it's a DNF, it would be 0 points. that would be it. You'd have to hope Alex Gal would get taken out, and knock on wood, we don't want anyone getting taken out in this fantastic battle. So Bennett is in a tough situation. With 40 seconds, he would come out around Thomas Reiter, I would say, probably in front of Thomas Reiter, maybe just clear, and I don't think there's any traffic around Thomas Reiter, so you'd have clear air. But, you know, he's on the back of Harley Horton right now, so I don't think he's too worried. Sean Campbell's right on the back of Alex Gow as well, as you can see, as those numbers just fluctuate from yellow to orange, of course. Now, that's Alvin Kettleberg, is that right at the timing tower? He's just taken the position away from Cody Pride.
He has
indeed. He has indeed.
And
when you watch the replay, I mean, did I just see an overtake on the inside and turn for his stick? I did. Now that has to be because he's coming into pit. Has to be. That is a iron pitting move there, I think, by Alvin Kettleberg, like we saw earlier with Cody Pride. Do not be surprised if you see Kettleberg coming in right now. 23 minutes left. I wouldn't put it past him. And Cody Pride would probably be thinking right now, okay, that allows me to save a lap. Thank you very much.
It's weird, isn't it? Because it almost looked to me like Cody Pride went wide. I think Cody Pride went wide. We sort of left the door open for Kettleberg, and Kettleberg went, well, I either follow Cody Pride or I just go up the inside. So it almost looked like he was actually, to be fair, almost forced into that move in a way. I just want to see it from another angle very, very quickly here. So let's just have a quick look at that move once more. So as we're going through, this is completely the wrong lap. So please do just ignore this completely, because I have really, really messed that up. Here we go. This is Alvin Kettleberg. Yeah, Cody Pride just runs a bit wide, doesn't he? So it does sort of open the door. Cody Pride gets a good bit of traction, but Kettleberg, obviously, the superior traction in that particular corner. Capitalised on it well, though. So recognised it straight away. As soon as he got through the apex, it looked like Kettleberg went, right, okay, gone wide, I'll up the inside, and I'll have this position here. So just a split-second decision, and it paid off for Kettleberg there.
Yeah, and it's worked for him. And for Cody Pride, though, he's back. I'm watching it at the moment myself. He's back to that passive aggressive that passive aggression I was talking about, or aggressive passive. I can't. You know what I mean? He's right on the back of Alvin Kettleberg, and he's pretty much just keeping it there. So I don't think he's in that position to save enough fuel for another lap, but he'll be happy enough that if he saves any bit of fuel, that just goes to mean he doesn't need to take more fuel. So he could just save a little bit of time in the pit, even if it's just a second. There's a second especially around here. Alex Bennett is still on the back of Harley Horton. Now you can see on the timing tower, those are the battles we're going to be trying to keep our eyes on as we get to the final 20 minutes. And of course, everything will change when it comes to the likes of the final races. But you do have that battle between Gal and Campbell. You do have Harley Horton and Alex Bennett working out as well. Henning Haig and Johan Aston are having a battle as well. Kettleberg and Pride are having a battle. And of course, the battle for the amateurs, Simon Dodd and Frederick Drury are battling as well. I was going to say, such a shame for Henning Haig. He had such a good race and has gone a little bit down. You know, he's down in 11th with El Haddad as well, as Ethan Bass comes into the pits. Bit of a shame, isn't it? Because, you know, we've had some great battles with them now. Is this a mistake from Ethan Bass? I hope it's not from the Ford. That doesn't look set. You can tell right away. You don't even need to predict what's going to happen. The moment that car goes turning in, you could see that car did not look right. And he takes it right now. Was that him going for the pits? Or do you think he's coming to the pits now he knows that he's lost the track position?
Yeah, I think it was just like, right, come into the pits, reset, go again. Ethan Bass, he's already on his way. Yeah, it was just split-second decision. Right, okay, that didn't go to plan. Let's try and push forward and move on, which is the best thing to do, I think, in that scenario. You can't really do much more than that, to be perfectly honest. If you did, then you'd end up just causing yourself more time. If anything, it may have been a tactical move as well, because the tyres would have been significantly hotter than they probably should have been over the optimum. So it may have played certainly into the hand. Obviously, you've got the time to now think, okay, well, I don't need to worry about too much. I've got the fuel for the rest of the stop. Yes, you are forced into the undercut, but it actually gives the tyres a bit of a chance to just cool down a little bit. So a wise decision there, I think, for Ethan Bass. He's lost about 3 or 4 seconds because of that, probably even a bit more. but I think it's the best of a bad situation, I think, in that instance.
Yeah, it's one of those things as well. I think I always forget about the tires. I always forget about when you slide the tires, you heat the tires up, and it is such a true thing that heating up the tires can actually be the end of a race. I know myself at Suzuka last week for our team, heated tires did cause us to lose the back of the car. That's the way the cookie crumbles sometimes. So Cody Pry, he's right on the back of the bumper here, Alvin Kettleberg. Now, there's an 8-second gap between him and Daniel Sedgley, but he's not looking to be in an overtaking move at the moment. 19 minutes remaining here. They're going to be starting lap 38 shortly. They're looking at 50 laps, 50 of course, 50 laps around here. There's no danger of it being one or the other, so, it's not going to be 49 or 50 or 51 or 50. It's definitely 50 at the moment. Of course, then again, with a pit stop of 45 seconds, or going to be about a bit lower now, probably about 30 seconds, you just do not know. So while that's happening there, Reynolds comes into the pits for the pros, and you can see Campbell is still on the back of Alex Gall. And you're not missing anything in the pros. But I will say, Harley Horton has now, Harley Horton and Alex Bennett, they're off the pace quite a bit here, because Harley Horton is now almost 3 seconds away from Sean Campbell, which is quite a gap when you think about it, especially at this stage of the race. And again, for the likes of Alex Bennett, that's not looking good for him. And I'm not saying with the benefit of hindsight, but that for me would be I should have pitted. The undercut may have worked for me, but Henny Haig, the late move there. That's really late there. I'm surprised that Daniel having a little bit of a twitch. I think I would have had the same twitch there. Couldn't believe how late that was. Didn't think he'd go for that move, but I think he just saw a little opening, and he almost took both of the drivers out there, and that would have been a teammate he took out there.
Yeah, I was looking at that. There was a bit of con. I don't think the move was ever on the cards. Maybe Johan Assen braked a little bit too early. Something that maybe not too early, but braking at his normal place. Henning Hay just wasn't necessarily prepared for it a little bit. Just caught him off guard ever so slightly. There was a minor bit of contact. Nothing major, no harm, no foul, really, as they say. But something that I'm sure Johan Assen will be sitting there going, "Oh, hello a minute. Let's just calm it down." Again, arguably Henning Hay was the person that lost out the most there. The gap has now dropped again quite significantly, so certainly not optimal for what we saw there. But again, there's certain things now that you've just got to be conscious of, and things like that are always going to happen. Sometimes you do get caught out a little bit, and as long as you are able to push forward in the cleanest way possible, then I don't really think it's going to be too much of an issue. Speaking of which, though, Kettleberg has got a bit of he's still being pressured by Cody Pride. Again, I wonder if Cody Pride is sitting there now, and he's again just saving as much fuel as he can, so that come the next round of pit stops, which aren't too far away, probably in the next, maybe this lap or even the next lap, that's where we're going to see an overcut happening here. There's no point doing the undercut, I don't think, especially for Cody Pride's perspective, because he seems to have pace on Kettleberg at this moment in time. So I almost don't think what he'll do is, if he has got enough fuel for an additional lap, he'll wait for Kettleberg to come in, then he'll try and get the jump, he'll try and do an absolutely blinder of an in-lap, he'll come in, and if he plays his cards right, he should be out ahead of Kettleberg.
Yeah, I know they describe it as do as what the other guy doesn't do, but it's kind of different, especially at Red Bull Ring, because of the nature of the pit entry, that you can't really do what the other guy doesn't do here. So he's going to have to just wait there a little bit longer. With 15 minutes and 30 seconds left, this is where the tank is starting to go. Daniel's right with that prediction. We're going to be starting to see laps. We're starting to see drivers come in for their final pit stops now or the next lap. I cannot see anybody extending to +2. I would be very surprised if I see somebody come in a couple of laps, a couple of laps longer than anybody else. I don't think it would save you at this stage at the moment. So we're keeping our eyes peeled on any driver that decides now is the time. Alex Gall at the front, he's getting held up by Ethan Bass as well, and that just holds up Sean Campbell, but it doesn't allow Harley Horton to get drawn in either. And just see Frederick Droy and Simon Dodd. And there you go. Simon Dodd goes in. Frederick Droy does not go in. So that's going to be an interesting battle there. That's going to be a pit stop battle between the top two in the amateurs. Frederick Droy looking for his first win this season. And Simon Dodd looking to replicate that fantastic win he had earlier in the season. But it's going to be all on the pit stops right here, just as it's going to be on the pit stops for these two. Does either of these two come into the pits, Kettleberg or Gal? None of them's coming into the pits yet. So they're going definitely for another lap, maybe even two. Remember, both of them's had decent time behind one another. So we may see that extra lap by both drivers. We'll wait and see. No one in the pro department, Huguenot and Calasimi, are in the pits at the moment. So it's still the top four, as you can see, just closely together. Cody Pride look for this move right now. You can't really, not with the lap traffic there. And they're all just going to have to slow down for the traffic. Almost. This is a little bit nerve-wracking. It's nice to see the cockpit view because I think that made it look very close. And that was very scary, but they all get through. And I got to be honest, I was holding on to my chair there for a moment. I thought something was going to happen.
So did I, to be fair. I think everyone did, being perfectly honest. Good avoiding, well, not necessarily avoidance action, but again, very well measured there, I think is the best way to put it from Cody Pride. What has happened though? Alex Bennett has okay, right. So Bennett and Harley Horton swap positions for a brief few moments. Now Harley Horton is in the pits. So Harley Horton is in the pits. Where is he going to come out? And more importantly, what happens when Gal, Campbell and Bennett pit? So he is going for the undercut. You were exactly right there. He has gone for the undercut compared to everyone else. Cody Pride and Kettleberg both go for an additional lap. Only 13 minutes left to go in this race, so they've got to pit at some point. Remember, they do have 2 mandatory pit stops. They do have to pit in some way, shape or form. Just don't really know when that's going to be. It must be this lap. I can't see them going an additional lap. Daniel Sedgley's coming to the pits. He's in P3. I'm just trying to see as well. So Richardson, Baths, Reiter and Chatterton, they have all come into the pits for their second stop. So it is just now Kettleberg and Pride, the two that have not come in at this stage of the race. I was just about to say something there, but I don't. Yep, we're all good to go. I think I can say that now. I've just noticed on the YouTube channel as well, the Absolute Sim Racing YouTube, but we do have, actually, no, I'm going to interrupt myself because Cody Pride now goes round the outside. That's a brave move indeed, and it's going to be Kettleberg that holds him off for the moment, though. But Cody Pride is now on the inside. Is he going to try and dive onto the brakes? This would lead me to believe that he is going to want to come into the pits now because he wanted to get that trap position, and Kettleberg decided that he was not going to get the trap position. He might try it again here. No, he does not. Are we going to now see Kettleberg or Pride come into the pit lane? Might even be a little bit of a send. No, there's not going to be a send. Although Kettleberg is coming into the pits. He's gone on the defensive.
Pride's pitting. He's told him he's pitting. He's pitting as well now.
So they both come in.
Yeah, I don't think that was the right move there. I think Cody should have kept his cards close to his chest. It's going to be a battle in the pit lane. So they'll get almost coming close together. But while we talk about that, remember that amateur battle, Frederick Droy and Simon Dodd? That is true. That is 4 seconds Frederick Droy made over Simon Dodd. That is one to keep an eye out for because that cannot be right. That cannot be right that a man can make 4 seconds when Simon Dodd, I don't think, made a mistake on his in-lap. So that's very interesting. And who gets the jump out of the Pro-Ams? Kettleberg. They both filled up the exact same time. And Kettleberg's going to be getting out here. The gloves are off now with 10 minutes to go in the Pro-Ams. And just nobody get a hit on the exit here. They're all clean. Kettleberg does have a lead here at the moment of 0.8, but we know what Cody Pride can do. Now, he does have the lead of the Pro-Ams to protect, but at the same time, he's a racer. He's going to be racing, just like Dean Timms right now with Johan Assen. But I do believe that is not... Johan Assen still needs to pit. No, this is actually for battle. This is for the battle for P3 overall. Johan Assen did get that move earlier on Dean Timms earlier this lap. Can he hold on to it? And still, Still, the top 3 in the pros have yet to pit. But judging by the way I just saw Alex Gal brake, no. Alex Gal's still going. What has he discovered on that car? The top 3 have still yet to pit.
I don't understand what they've got. They're running diesels now. I didn't realise that iRacing had put diesels in the sim. I don't understand how they're continuing to go. To be perfectly honest, sun is starting to set though. We are certainly getting into the dusk of. I've just had a quick look. What's the weather? Actually, that'd be interesting to see what the weather is. So the time is 10, just coming to 10 past 6. No, let me try that again. 10 past 4 on the 17th of November. So it is actually today they are doing it. So that's why the nights are still drawing in, and the nights are continuing to draw in, as they will do down into December. Still, it is 24 degrees though, so a pretty warm day that we can see at the moment. It is 24 degree track temp and 24 degree air temp as well. Bit of a crosswind, but I don't really think that's going to be playing too much into the problem of everyone. I tell you one thing though, and one thing I'm so excited for. Imagine this, and it were to just start raining. Just imagine next year we're going to get treated to weather as well. Just imagine. I am harking back to what happened this year at MotoGP when Brad Binder was the only one out of the top 10 that did not pit, and he was about 25 seconds slower than everyone else, and yet he still managed to win simply because he didn't pit. Torrential rain on slicks it's just like, it was one of the best things I've ever seen in terms of motor racing, just ever. And it just reminded me of this as well, like what happens in that instant. This is going to be just a game changer for everyone when it comes to iRacing. And yeah, I'm so excited to have that other element.
Well, I've made a mistake. They have pitted. We missed it. I was wondering why they hadn't not pit yet. So this is a battle for the race. Alex Bennett does have that P3 over Harley Horton, which is going to be vital for him. That is a lap car of Simon Dodd. Now, he was in a battle for the amateur lead, but of course, after that pit stop, he is not. He lets those two go on by, and that's good racing there. Now, this is a battle, though, for P4 in the amateurs. That's Henning Haig and Dean Timms. Both these Dean Timms needs a really good result here if he wants to get a P4. Can he make this around the outside? Henning Haig's done that a couple of times, and Henning Haig, really nice way to capitalize on defending that corner there, and he manages to defend it, but Dean still has the traction here, and he's gonna be able to pull alongside. Even though he's around the outside, he can still set himself up here. Now around turn 4, and there you go. Henning Haig lets him go by, and now they're side by side, but you can just see how Henning Haig went slower into the corner there, slow in, fast out, and that worked for him. And Dean Timms forced to pull Bassar into the back of Henning Haig, taking that dirty air. Not going to be helpful for him, but he is still P5. This is what he needs, so he needs to get another position. Those 5 points could be crucial in his charge to get onto the podium of the Amateur Championship. All he needs right now is just a good result, and Henning Haig, I think, is that car in the way of a good result right now for Dean Tim. We'll wait and see. Henning Haig goes a little bit wide there. Probably would have caught the off-track system. That last corner definitely wouldn't have. He's fine. So that's going on. Now, again, you can see on the timing tower, these are the battles we're looking at. That lead battle for the Pro. Lead battle for the Pro-Am. This P4 and 5 battle for the amateurs. They're the closest battles and the only battles we've got on the track. With 6 minutes remaining, anything can happen here. Anything. And let's hope the worst doesn't happen.
It's a very, very fair point. As you say, anything can certainly happen. This is... Hang on a minute. When did Cody Bride get past Kettleberg? When did that happen? It happened not too long ago, in fact. Let's have a quick look at this. What happened here? Where did Kettleberg get a slowdown? Kettleberg got a slowdown. It must have been. There was no way you'd give up that position there. No way. So Cody Pride has been gifted the race lead as it stands at the moment, with just under 5, was just about to tick over to 5 minutes to go. Kettleberg is, if that was the case, then a costly mistake there for Alvin Kettleberg. He has got a few laps to try and get back past though, but with how close these two drivers were throughout the race, I don't think that's going to be possible for either of these drivers.
We don't know, but I just look back. That was a slowdown at turn 10. Now, I
Wow.
know you can get a slowdown there, but I thought you could only get a slowdown from cutting the inside. He didn't cut the inside. So interesting, a slide from Cody Pride. Now, you're saying that there might not be a chance here, but a little bit of a slide there by Cody has allowed Kettleberg to get onto the bumper now, and all of a sudden, it's game on. I mean, hopefully we don't see a Leclerc Verstappen issue there. And again, a little bit of a twitch out of Nicky Lauda curb by Kettleberg, but he is still there. This is going to be very interesting to see the finish. Again, you can see the timing tower for Campbell and Gal. They are just battling on as well. There is lap traffic in front of these two Pro-Ams. Sonny Mattis and Chris Chatterton both are in front there. I don't think they are battling for position, but they are just driving along. They do see these Pro-Ams in behind them, and they just got to keep it easy. Look at this lovely camera angle right here on the back of Cody Pride. You can see how close and how far away just to put the push in. By the way, Cody Pride is the fastest Porsche driver out there tonight, and you can just see that he's really making this Porsche work. Really fits his style of driving.
It does, yeah, absolutely. The Porsche is a great car to drive. It's one of my personal favourite cars to drive. I just love Porsches. I have an absolute soft spot for them. But yeah, if you can make the Porsche work, it's really, really suits your drive, and it can be a very, very fast car. Kettleberg had a bit of a look up the inside there. He wasn't really going to make the move, but it was just having a bit of a look to try and push Cody Pride into making a mistake. A couple of laps remaining here, as we just tick over to 1 hour 11 minutes and 1 hour and 12 minutes. In fact, there it is. Just one thing actually before I do forget, before I'm really interrupted by some racing going on. If you haven't already, please make sure you do subscribe to the Absolute Sim Racing YouTube channel. We're so close. We're about 7 subscribers away to 400 subscribers, which is absolutely fantastic because of how long. We haven't been going that long, to be fair. So if you could please subscribe to the channel to get to 400, that would be absolutely fantastic. We would really appreciate it. Yes, coming down now, still battling once again, although Cody Pride's managed to pull a little bit of time here. Svenja Mathiesen, P7 and P8 in the Pro-Am class, having a bit of a battle, though Chris Chatterton goes up the inside of Dean Timms, and then Mathiesen follows. That is currently a battle that is going on. Cody Pride has now gained a 4/10 advantage over Kettleberg. However, now it turns out that Dean Timms possibly, I don't think he'll be holding him up because Dean Timms will be getting out of the way. And abided by the blue flag rules. Unfortunately, though, it was at the wrong time. So Cody Pride caught Dean Timms up at the wrong time, and now look, the gap is just dropped to 0.2 of a second. So very, very costly there a little bit. Again, just unfortunate. Dean Timms stuck to his normal racing line. Absolutely, which is what you're supposed to do. But that did indeed cost Cody Pride more so than it did Alvin Kettleberg. And now we've got the battle between Chatterton and Mathiesen. This is going to slow both Cody Pride. Look at this. What's going to happen here? Because there's 2 battles going on. What do? You do have to technically, it's blue flags, but at the same time, you don't really want to get caught up in any positions. I really don't know. This is going to shake things up a hell of a lot, isn't it?
That is what you do. Cody Pride just took the corner normally and got a slingshot. He was able to just ignore what was going on and take so much of a slingshot, he pulled away from Kettleberg. Meanwhile, you've got the 2 Manatee drivers having a little battle right now. Not Manatee, sorry, it's full send and Manatee. Horton and Huguenot. Horton is the full send driver. Huguenot is the Manatee driver, and they are battling as well. Cody Pride's got to pass the lap traffic, as is Calvin Kettleberg. So they're going to be fine at the moment. This little battle here just starting to shape up as well at the middle of the pro field. Campbell and Gold, nothing much happening between those two at the moment as they start the final lap. But these two, all of a sudden, the fireworks have come on between Huguenot and Horton. What can Huguenot do? Can he get a run past Horton? It's going to be tough. 2 Lambos just battling on as they start their final lap. Now, I don't think Campbell, I'm keeping my eyes on Campbell right here, but he's unable to get a launch here. This Ferrari, every week we talk about this Ferrari and Alex Gal, and he just does things in it. Campbell, late braking. Does he make any moves here? He cannot. And you think he catches up, the gap stays the same. It just goes down a little bit. So I think this, knock on wood, I think that is it for Gal, and that is a move by Horton. And
It's
Huguenot
defending.
now has to make the defense.
Yeah, it was just defending there, to be fair. So now it's role reversal. Well, it's not role reversal because the move wasn't made. So Horton's still ahead as it stands at the moment, though, because Huguenot tries to go on the outside down into turn 4. Is it going to be? No, because Horton just runs him out, squeezes him a little bit. But Chaos Huguenot is now on the inside, going through on the left of turn 5. Is this going to be a move? I'm not 100% sure. They're still going to go side by side. Meanwhile, we're going to have Alex Gale cross the line in a few moments' time, which we do obviously want to see, but at the same time that we've got a nice tasty little battle going on here.
Yeah, Alex Gale's about to cross the line right now. He will take that victory. He's got one more corner to go. He will take that victory. It is going to be a little bit of a sprint fight, though, by Sean Campbell. He cannot make it, though, so Campbell takes P2. Bennett takes P3.
Oh!
Huguenot's going to defend this right now. This is going to be very crucial here, and I think he may have got this. Horton does not have anything. I think he's got a slowdown. Huguenot will survive and take it. Now, we've got to get back to this Pro-Am battle because Cody Pride has the lead. Can Kettleberg do anything in the final 2 corners? Could be a sprint race to the line. We'll wait and see. One last corner. You've not missed anything here. Kettleberg is going to be absolutely launching it here, and it is going to be a drag to the line, but he has yielded, and that is Cody Pride taking the Pro-Am. Wow. And already, I believe that is Frederick Droy. We got to talk about it as well. He's already taken the checkered flag. That is Frederick Droy's first win in the championship, and that was just a masterful pit stop working there by Frederick Droy, because out of nowhere he turned half a second behind Simon Dodds into a 4-second lead in the pit stops. That is fantastic from Frederick Droy.
Certainly is, wasn't it? He did it at exactly the right time, exactly when he needed to. Absolutely fantastic stuff indeed. We are going to be going through to you in a second. We're going to be running you through the full results, and we're hopefully going to be having a chat with some drivers as well. Oh my goodness, that was certainly something to watch, wasn't it? That was absolutely fantastic. And the good thing is we've still got 2 rounds to go. Certainly shaking things up, absolutely. So we're going to have a quick run through your results now, and then we're going to have a chat with some of our drivers for this evening. And when they are brought up, in fact, we're just about to bring them up now for you. Bear with us 2 moments while iRacing waits to bring the finishing results up for us. And here they are. So Alex Gale taking the race victory by only 0.125 of a second. Sean Campbell in P2, Alex Bennett third with Cass Huguenot in P4, just getting Harley Horton in the final couple of corners, who finishes 5th. Stuart Reynolds in P6, Augusto Cassiami in 7th with Nick Madison in P8, 19 laps down. Unfortunately, and then Harry Wills will be in P9, 44 laps down. Relatively early retirement from him. Down into the Pro-Am field now, Cody Pride takes P1 and takes your race victory. 10.2 seconds off of Daniel Sedgley. Why on earth is that a thing? Because I do believe Alvin Kettleberg should be in P2. Now that would lead me to believe
he is not. He is not.
Would that lead me to believe then that Kettleberg had a slowdown that he did not get rid of before crosses the line?
25 incident points.
Oh.
Black flag for drive-through. And you can't serve the drive-through.
So you will then have to instead take the time penalty. Okie dokie. Well, there we go then. So that promotes Daniel Sedgley into 2nd position. Will Richardson in P3rd with Alvin Kettleberg, unfortunately, dropping down the order to P4. Thomas Reiter takes P5 with Ethan Bass in 6th. Svania Matheson 7th. Chris Chatterton in P8. Joachim Code in 9th. Daniel Gilding 10th. Ryan Hamilton takes P11. Unfortunately, 26 laps down. And they've moved to the AM category. Frederick Devoy taking the race win. And I believe, as you were saying there, Craig, it's the first win for Devoy as well. And the Team Slow Mo Super number 35. Simon Dodd P2, Johan Assen in P3. Henning Haig takes P4 with Sauterhaug, Tejal Sauterhaug in P5. Werner S 6th, Edson Manguera 7th. That is Gertz Kiseki in P8. Ingo Lapsi in P9. Michael Jonland in 10th. Ashraf El Haddad in 11th. And Dean Timms in P12, finishing a lap down. That is your finishing positions here. And I believe as well, hopefully, Craig, we're going to be able to chat to a few people in a few moments.
We are indeed. I just want to point out as well with Dean Timms. I know people were asking Dean Timms 27 incident points. So I believe he had to serve a drive-through as well. So that's unfortunately there. This man didn't need to serve a drive-through. In fact, this man at one stage I thought was going to be winning the amateurs, but Simon, unfortunately, it kind of fell apart at the second pit stops there. But a P2 is still, nothing to shout at really. So that looked to be a pretty convincing P2 there for you, and almost, like I said, almost a convincing win.
Yeah, I was a little bit annoyed with that second pit stop. I'm not sure where Frederick got that extra time from, because even without, I came out just in front of the leaders of the pro class, and I was like, I'm going to lose time letting these guys through, which I did. But even without that, he gained so much time in the pit stops. I was really hoping he'd underfueled or something, but clearly he'd nailed that fuel perfectly, and I think I finished with an extra 4 litres, so I probably overfueled a bit unfortunately and lost that time in the pits, which was annoying because I gained all the time in the first pit stop. But still, P2's P2, can't complain.
No, can't complain. Of course, as well, one of the faster cars out there as well. I think you have started P2 as well in the amateurs, if my mind recalls
P3.
properly. P3. I was going to say, yeah, the Ferrari. The Ferrari isn't a very popular choice, but it seemed to be pretty dominant, or pretty strong around here. Would you know why that would be compared to the others? Because it did provide a lot more speed and pace compared to other cars.
I'm not too sure, to be honest. I know the BMW had a heck of a lot of straight line speed. Like, even in the slipstream, when I did get in the slipstream of Frederick in the first stint, sorry, not sector, like I was struggling to close him down on the straights because that Beamer has just got that top end speed. But through the corners, when I got ahead of him after the first round of pit stops, I noticed in that middle sector through the twisty bits, I was just gaining those few tenths on him, which just set me up for the start-finish line for him to not be able to take that dive into turn 1. And I think he might have saved some fuel in that second section, and just did that on me. That did me in the second pit stops, but it was some good racing up until then.
It was. So next week, I mean, it's one of my favourite GT tracks. It's Imola. Now,
I love it.
What do we expect? You love it as well. I mean, are we going to expect to see the same? Because let's be brutally honest, if anyone knows the World Series, I think if anyone can say of a most improved driver, I think everyone really knows the story of Simon Dodd. And are we going to expect to see the same? Because it's been, outside of a couple of incidents, it's been a really, really strong season for you in the new look World Series. So are we hoping to see the same next week?
I hope so, but I'm off to New York Friday morning until Monday evening, so the only practice I'm going to be able to do is on Tuesday night before the race, so it's a little bit out of practice for it, but we'll see. Hopefully I can just jump in and get over the jet lag quickly, and fingers crossed I'll be alright for it. But it's going to be not as much practice as I'd like to put in for it, but I know the track, and obviously I know the car. This is I can't even tell you how many seasons I've been running this car, so it's I know it pretty well. So hopefully I can just jump in, bolt on a good setup, and off we go to the races. But we'll see.
Fingers crossed, Simon. Any shout-outs before we let you go for the night?
Shout out to Eclipse Racing Team, obviously, and Dean and Twiggy for helping with the setups, and the other Eclipse drivers, Sim3D, the sponsor. Calvin, thank you very much for all of that. And shout out to New York. I'll see you at the weekend, baby. And shout out to you guys for doing the broadcast, obviously.
So Simon, go pack your suitcase. It sounds like you cannot wait for the sights of New York. The city's so good they named it twice. Simon, congratulations on a P2. Have a fantastic trip to New York. And hopefully we see you not really jet lagged next Wednesday at Imola. All the best, my friend.
Cheers, guys. Thanks a lot. Have a good week.
Thank you. Well, I believe, unfortunately, that is going to be it for the night, Daniel. Once again, every week, I don't even say this to hype up. I think every week the racing gets better in this series. And it's just amazing how, once again, we've had another fantastic night of racing. I'm not going to forget that with Henning Haig and El Haddad going side by side for the whole lap. I'm not going to forget that for a while. Trust me, that was fantastic to watch. So thank you, ladies and gentlemen, for watching us as per usual. If you like what you see, hit that thumbs up and the subscribe button. Like I said, we were close to 400 subscribers. Every little helps, and every milestone gets us where we want to go. So if you like what you see, of course, shout out to our website, of course, absolutesimracing.com. Don't forget to check out the other broadcasts that we will be doing this week. And of course, next week, remember the Porsche Cup Series for Europe and EU. Europe and US is next Tuesday. And of course, we will be here on the World Series next Wednesday for Imola. Just 2 races left. And the championship for the Pro and the Pro-Am is still anyone's game. So once again, a shout out to raceanywhere.co.uk and sim3d.co.uk for their sponsorship of the series. Until next week, my name has been Craig King, and with me, of course, with the microphone and the camera is Daniel Hanover. We thank you once again, ladies and gentlemen. Have a good evening, and we will see you next week for Imola. Take care, everybody.